on the way to the biggest race of his life. A hotshot rookie race car gets stranded in a rundown town and learns that winning isn't everything in life. Today, we will recap the story of the 2006 movie, Cars. The film starts with two commentators, Bob Cutlass and Daryl Cartrip, getting ready for the Dinoco 400, which is the last race in the Piston Cup series, a highly renowned and distinguished race in America. At this point in the racing season, three drivers are in contention for the Piston Cup Championship, all of whom are tied for the season points lead. One of the contenders is Strip Weathers, who is popularly known as the King. He is a seasoned racing veteran and has already won 7 Piston Cups to his name. It's widely rumored that he may retire after the current season. Jake Hicks is another experienced racer who has always been a runner-up to the King throughout his career. Lightning McQueen, on the other hand, is a rookie in his first year of racing, and he has been performing exceptionally well. Many believe that he has a chance of winning the Piston Cup, Rookie of the Year, and a Dinoco sponsorship, which would be a remarkable achievement. The time has come for the final race of the season, which will determine the winner of the coveted Piston Cup. During the race, Jake Hicks, who is desperate to win, deliberately collides with another car, causing a massive pileup involving multiple vehicles. Lightning manages to navigate his way through the wreckage and stays in close pursuit of the leading cars. In a bid to maintain his position at the front, McQueen chooses to stay on the track while all the other racers head to the pit. The commentators reveal that Lightning has recently fired his third crew chief and speculate that he prefers to work alone. Throughout the race, Lightning adopts a risky strategy of making brief pit stops each lap to refuel, rather than complete pit stops. However, this plan backfires on the last lap when his tires blow out. Despite this setback, McQueen puts up a brave fight to cross the finish line first, resulting in an absolute dead heat. After the race, reporters approach Lightning for an interview, while the judges argue over the result. During the interview, McQueen reiterates his stance as a one-man show, and his pit crew, who have grown tired of his disrespectful behavior, quit on the spot. Jake and Lightning exchange insults until the King intervenes and advises McQueen that his attitude is hindering his remarkable talent, and that he cannot win without a good team supporting him. Lightning's idea of a good team is Dinoco, the most prestigious sponsor in the racing circuit, and the King's current sponsor. McQueen is convinced that if he wins the Piston Cup, he will be offered a Dinoco sponsorship. A broadcast over the loudspeakers informs everyone that the race has ended in a tie, and a tiebreaker race will be held in California the following week to determine the ultimate winner of the championship. After the announcement, Lightning meets with his transporter, Mac, a 1980 Mack Superliner truck. Mac reminds McQueen that he has a personal appearance to make for his sponsor, Rusty's. Lightning grudgingly films a commercial for Rusty's and interacts with a group of rundown vehicles brought to the event by Rusty and Dusty, the heads of the company. McQueen puts on a show for the crowd, but his dissatisfaction with working for a small-time sponsor is evident. While on the road with Mac, Lightning is determined to arrive in California before any of his competitors. He forbids Mac from stopping to rest and pushes him to drive through the night. However, Mac becomes drowsy on Interstate 40 and is accosted by a group of street racers, causing him to veer onto the shoulder. The rumble strips cause a Lightning figurine to land on the button that opens the back door of the truck, resulting in Lightning falling out while he was asleep. Panicked about being lost, Lightning frantically tries to locate Mac, but he mistakenly follows a Peterbilt truck, believing it to be Mac. The Peterbilt driver rebuffs Lightning, telling him to turn on his headlights. As Lightning McQueen is driving in the countryside, he loses his way and finds himself on a dark road. He speeds past a police car and the officer begins to pursue him. Thinking he's being shot at when the police car backfires, Lightning speeds up even more, losing control of his vehicle and getting caught in some power lines. His car spins out of control and crashes through a small town, creating a huge tear in the street before finally stopping in front of the local sheriff. The following day, Mac arrives at the racetrack without Lightning, and a search team sets out to locate him. Meanwhile, Lightning regains consciousness to find himself immobilized by a parking clamp in an impound lot, where he meets a rusty tow truck named Mater. Mater informs him that he's in a small town called Radiator Springs, located near the old US Route 66. Soon after, the local sheriff arrives to take Lightning to court for causing damage to the town's main street. Lightning finds himself facing the wrath of the other residents of Radiator Springs, including Fillmore, who sells organic fuel, Luigi and Guido, who run a tire shop, Ramon, who specializes in car paint and body work, Flo, who runs a gas station and cafe, Sarge, a Humvee that sells surplus parts, Lizzie, an antiques dealer, and Red, the town's fire truck. All of them are furious with Lightning for his reckless driving, which caused a significant amount of damage to the town. In Radiator Springs, Doc Hudson is both the town's judge and physician. When he arrives to try Lightning's case, he is initially prepared to give the racer a harsh sentence. However, after a closer look, Doc orders Lightning to be thrown out of town. A new arrival, Sally Carrera, interrupts the proceedings and Lightning is immediately taken with her. Sally is actually the town's attorney, and she convinces Doc to sentence Lightning to community service to repair the damage he caused to the road. Doc ultimately agrees and tells Lightning he can leave once the road is fixed, which he estimates will take about 5 days. Mater brings out Bessie, a large machine used for asphalt paving. After Lightning's parking boot is removed, he tries to escape, but only manages to travel a short distance before breaking down. Sally and the sheriff catch up with him and mock his failed attempt, revealing that they had drained his gas tank. The townsfolk observe as Lightning starts repairing the road. Lightning tries to impress them with his celebrity status, hoping to be released from his sentence. He manages to grab Luigi's attention by mentioning his career as a race car. But Luigi quickly loses interest when he realizes that Lightning is not a real Formula 1 race car. Lightning, remembering the agreement that he will be released once the road is finished, Lightning pushes the paving machine to the limit, resulting in a rough and uneven surface. The people of Radiator Springs are offended by his behavior and shoddy work. Doc proposes a race to settle the matter. If Lightning wins, he will be set free. If Doc wins, Lightning must remove the current layer of pavement and start over. Although Lightning underestimates Doc's ability, he agrees to the challenge. At a nearby dirt track, Lightning takes off at top speed, while Doc stays still. However, when Lightning hits the dirt on the first turn, his tire gives out and he crashes, allowing Doc to win by default. Reluctantly, Lightning goes back to work, scrapping up the pavement as he grumbles. Despite offers of help from the townspeople, such as Luigi's tire sales, Fillmore's organic fuel, and Ramon's custom paint jobs, Lightning is too frustrated to accept their assistance. The next day, Doc inspects the progress of the road and finds that only 1/3 of it is completed. He discusses this with the sheriff, who tells him that Lightning had run out of asphalt while working and had spent the entire night trying to navigate the troublesome turn that caused him to crash earlier. Doc advises Lightning to turn right to go left, but he is initially doubtful. After trying it out, Lightning loses control and ends up falling off the cliff. As Lightning resumes paving the road, one of his tires develops a slow leak. Guido, who dreams of working in a real racetrack pit stop, comes to fix it. Sally is impressed by Lightning's hard work and how he has positively impacted the town, so she offers him a room at the Cozy Cone Motel instead of spending another night in the impound. Lightning can't resist the offer and decides to stay there. The sheriff assigns Mater to keep an eye on Lightning for the night. Mater takes Lightning to a remote field and introduces him to tractor tipping, which involves sneaking up on a sleeping tractor and startling it, causing it to rear up on its back wheels. Mater demonstrates it, but is only able to tip over one tractor at a time. Lightning takes it up a notch and tips over every single tractor. They almost get caught by Frank, the large threshing machine in charge of the tractors, and must make a quick escape. On their way back to the town, Mater shows off his remarkable skill of driving in reverse, which impresses Lightning. Mater considers Lightning to be his best friend, and Lightning appears to be touched by his affection. The following day, Lightning is waiting at Doc's garage for his daily gas allowance when he stumbles upon Doc's dusty workshop. Inside, he discovers that Doc is actually the legendary Hudson Hornet, a race car with a record-breaking 27 wins in a single season in 1952. Lightning is amazed by the trophies and racing memorabilia on display, but Doc dismisses them as mere empty cups and refuses to talk about his racing career. Later, Sally takes Lightning on a tour of Radiator Springs, explaining its history and significance as a famous stop along US Route 66. However, when Interstate 40 was built, the town was bypassed, causing it to fall into decline as almost no one travels through it anymore. The next day, the town is thrown into chaos as the tractors run amok through the streets. While helping to corral them, Lightning catches a glimpse of Doc racing around a dirt track outside of town. Curious, he confronts Doc and questions why he never pursued a racing career with his obvious talent. After some prodding, Doc reveals the truth. He was actually forced into retirement by the racing organization after a horrific crash left him sidelined for an entire season. When he finally recovered and attempted to return, the sponsors passed him over for a hotshot rookie. Just like they did with Lightning, Doc had given up on racing altogether until he met Lightning, who reminded him of his own younger self. The following day, the townsfolk wake up to discover that the road is now complete. Although he finally has the opportunity to leave, Lightning chooses to stay and accept the services of the locals, including new fuel from Fillmore, tires from Luigi, and a new paint job from Ramon. As the town celebrates late into the night over their new road, a swarm of reporters and media vehicles descend upon Radiator Springs to take McQueen back. Lightning doesn't have the chance to explain anything or speak to any of the townsfolk before he's loaded onto Mac and sent back to California. Sally discovers that Doc tipped off the media to Lightning's whereabouts and is angry with him. After arriving in California, Lightning prepares for the big race, with Mac serving as his pit crew. The King and Chick Hicks get off to a decent start, but Lightning's memories of Sally and his time in Radiator Springs interfere with his performance and cause him to lose time. When McQueen attempts to compose himself, he hears Doc's voice over the radio. Doc, along with the majority of the Radiator Springs locals, has arrived to provide support and assist Lightning as his pit crew. Doc is now the crew chief and is adorned in his former paint job. The audience's cameras spot Doc in the midst of the crowd and acknowledge the return of the renowned Hudson Hornet. In a desperate attempt to catch up with the others, Lightning accelerates out of the pit area. As the race approaches its end, Chick collides with Lightning, causing him to spin out of control. However, Chick is caught off guard when Lightning unexpectedly zooms past him, driving in reverse. Later on, Hick tries to push McQueen off the track, causing Lightning to experience a tire blowout. Guido, who is prepared for Lightning's arrival, executes the quickest pit stop in Piston Cup history by single-handedly changing all 4 tires in less than 4 seconds. The forklifts on Chick's pit crew are amazed and drop their mustache-shaped grills in surprise. Guido privately taunts Chick's crew, exclaiming "Pit stop." As the 3 racers approach the last lap, Lightning secures the top position. However, Chick strikes Lightning once again, causing him to veer off the track. Lightning regains the lead by turning his wheels hard to the right while sliding to the left, regaining the top position. In a final attempt to win, Jake intentionally collides with the King, causing him to flip multiple times through the air and land heavily damaged on the infield. Upon witnessing the state of the King, Lightning abruptly stops in his tracks, recalling Doc's fate. As a result, Chick Hicks is able to cross the finish line first, taking the top spot. Lightning goes back to help the King, pushing him the remainder of the way to the finish line, allowing the well-known competitor to finish his last race with dignity. Parroting Doc's words, Lightning tells the King that the Piston Cup is merely an empty cup. Chick Hicks is awarded the Piston Cup, but the crowd boos and ridicules him for his unethical behavior, rendering his victory meaningless. In contrast, Lightning is applauded and praised for his sportsmanlike conduct. Tex, the head of Dynaco, offers Lightning a sponsorship due to his exceptional performance. Although Lightning contemplates the offer, he ultimately decides to remain with Rusty's, the company that gave him his big break. Guido and Luigi are amazed when a real Ferrari arrives at their store, as Lightning McQueen had previously recommended it as the best place in the world to get tires. McQueen returns to Radiator Springs and chooses to establish his headquarters in the town, restoring its fame and leading to the maps being redrawn as historic Route 66. Thank you for tuning in to our Alpha Recaps channel, where we discuss the beloved animated film Cars. We hope that our recap has reminded you of the heartwarming message of friendship, hard work, and perseverance that this movie portrays. From Lightning McQueen's journey from a self-centered racer to a humble friend, to the quaint and charming town of Radiator Springs, Cars has captured the hearts of both children and adults alike. We hope that our recap has reignited your love for this timeless classic, and that you will continue to join us for future movie discussions. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the next one.